right, baby. JohnnyCast episode 7 here. Wee hours, scary hours of Saturday the 25th. It is 2:21 a.m. Just got out of the shower, trimmed up that beard, and I'm feeling nice. I'm feeling fresh, feeling crisp. Now, the first thing I wanted to discuss is a little personal story of growth, all right? Now, this time last year, again, we're approaching the Elite Eight. It's going to be 2 games today, later today, and then 2 games on Sunday. And for the last year, I have been fully sober, so to speak, of gambling. The reason for that is, I don't know, long story short, was a pretty significant gambler in a degenerate fashion. And it all came to a head of about like a 4-year career. All came to a head during last year's tournament. To put it lightly, I was my favorite bet in basketball, and I've mentioned this on previous podcasts. My favorite bet in the sport of basketball, whether it's college basketball or the NBA, it could have even been Australian basketball and New Zealand basketball league during COVID. Any basketball league, could be St. Rose, CYO, and Massapequa, New York, doesn't matter. It is an over-under. Doesn't have to be an over, doesn't have to be an under. It's just what I'm feeling for that game, that specific game. I'm going to throw that on an over-under. Anyway, that was my favorite bet. And that was what, like I said, in college. In the NBA, you're usually rooting for 60-point quarters. So a score of 30-30 will suffice in that sense, because 240 is going to get you pretty much to any over-under as well. Or over, excuse me. So when you get down to that last quarter, and you go, shit, I need actually 70 points total, or all I need is 45 points. Then you start getting a little crazy. But so I believe the number, and I don't even remember this specifically, which is pretty impressive that I don't. But the number that the crazy situation from last tournament was during the Elite Eight and the Sweet 16. So obviously you got 8 games during the Sweet 16, and you have 4 games during the Elite Eight. So 12 total games. 11 out of 12 games went under. And stubborn Johnny, as you can imagine, said, okay, well, I mean, this next game can't be under. Okay, well, that game hit under, so I mean, the next game can't be under. And down the hall, the rock gets kicked, and then you burn out. So that was a telltale rock bottom, so to speak, for my gambling career. And it woke me up, and I did a lot of things to fix it. It took me a very long time to be able to, besides the Yankees, besides baseball, because I just love baseball and I love the Yankees. So I never really bet on the Yankees. And even if I did, it wouldn't affect my passion for the team. But anything else, whether it's football or basketball or anything, more so basketball, but I had to really repair my relationship with sports, because it's very difficult to watch games without any action on it, especially action at a high level. So it took months and months and months, and here I am about a year later, and without a doubt, over the last 3 months, I've realized that, I mean, I have fully reset that bar, and it's amazing. I mean, for example, all I have going right now is a bracket. I have one bracket, and we're going to get to that later, but I have one bracket that's in the running. And so even games during that, or even, for example, UCLA Gonzaga yesterday, yeah, I mean, my heart is beating out of my chest for these games that I don't have a dollar on, which is awesome. But the conclusion, the reason why I'm saying all of this is because I think it's a bad thing that we see so much just commercials and ad space and all of these things that are promoting gambling and glorifying gambling. And sure, at the end of every commercial or ad on the radio, they're going to say call 1-800-GAMBLER or whatever. But I do. I mean, I'm not the biggest Craig Carton fan, but it is awesome that he at least is a voice of the other side to a lot of people, because people don't realize how a very, very, I guess, innocent habit can really just snowball for the wrong person. And it just kind of disgusts me, coming from a place where I was, that, I mean, I'm in the locker room at gyms, and kids in high school are gambling, and you just think about, I mean, some of these people are going to gamble their houses, their mortgages away. They're going to gamble hundreds of thousands of dollars if they're lucky enough to be wealthy, maybe millions of dollars. And so is that something we should be promoting and throwing in everyone's face every 5 seconds, shoving in everyone's face? I don't think so. I really don't. I mean, every other commercial, even during the game now, you're seeing lines on the ticker on the bottom. You're seeing just a lot of, even during the pre and post games, they were talking about it. Free bet here, free bet there. So I have a big time feeling that over the next maybe 5 years, we're going to see a switch up, and this glorification of gambling is going to come to a screeching halt when we start to see numbers come out and a lot of issues around people ruining their lives from gambling. I mean, I know people don't think maybe that gambling is as serious of an addiction as maybe a drug problem, but believe me, it definitely can be. And to someone that's probably a little bit more in an advanced stage in their life, maybe they're married, maybe they have a family, you can lose it all. So to glorify it, and listen, I get it. I mean, if you're responsible, just like alcohol or whatever, then you should be able to enjoy it, and that's something that I can enjoy, and I it's a shame because I do miss it. I love it, but so maybe I'm one of these people that can't partake in it. But the thing is that I think that there's a lot of people that are going to be hurting from this, and my issue, just like I said, I don't want to keep repeating myself here, but it's that we're glorifying it, right? And I mean, it took us a long time with cigarettes, for example, to realize how detrimental they were to society's health, and then finally those have kind of been demonized. And not only is there, I mean, it's illegal to advertise it, but it's been you're getting like pictures of rotting lungs and stuff on the pack of cigarettes. I think, I'm not even sure, but alcohol is one that I think is going to relatively soon as well just become a little bit more taboo than it is. It's the most socially accepted substance there is, clearly, and I'm not out to complain or talk down about people who drink alcohol, because I mean it's very normal and it's accepted, and it's people have fun. It's great. It's great, a great social tool and stuff like that. But I think that's another one that people are starting to realize. Oh, I mean, this really doesn't have any benefit besides just numbing me. So why am I putting this into my body? And on the same level, I think gambling, not maybe the people realizing it that are doing it, but I think that corporations are going to wake up, and people who care about the wellness and the well-being of other people are going to wake up and say, we can't be, I mean, at least if you own a channel, you own a network or anything, you say, wait a second, I can't be promoting this. I don't want to promote this. Why am I promoting, especially to, like, I know it's technically illegal, I think, to gamble under 18, but like still, 18-year-old kid, I mean, it's insane. It's just insane. So that's my little rant on gambling, and it's a nice segue because, again, a year ago pretty much this weekend, I was in that horrible spot. A year comes by, and now I'm excited and just enjoying these games for what they are, and they've been phenomenal. So to kind of get into that, the first game of the Sweet 16 was probably the second best game of the Sweet 16, but that's kind of understating it because it was such an incredible game, and that was obviously Kansas State, Michigan State, and I mean, what an unbelievable game. As I said, and by the way, my picks overall for the Sweet 16, first day I went 3 of 4, and then today I split, which was unfortunate, and we're going to get into some bad beats in that regard, especially on Gonzaga's end, but yeah, so that Kansas State game was just so incredible to me because you get to see Marquise Noel in a unique environment where it's a guy who's probably never going to be able to make it to the pros just because of his size, and he's just so incredibly talented. I mentioned this last podcast that the Kansas State team is just so likable. Yeah, I mean, Tang is just like really my favorite coach in college basketball now. I can see myself really rooting for them for years and years to come because of him. Yeah, so watching some of the moves he was pulling out, Noel, was just special. I mean, really special in the Garden, hometown. I said last podcast he's from Brooklyn. That's why I think I had read maybe he was born in Brooklyn, but he is a Harlem kid, so it's technically Manhattan. But yeah, that was just awesome to see. Sets the NCAA record for assists, and yeah, so they cover that game, and that was an exciting one. Overtime, he gets hurt in the game as well, comes back. He's taken a couple really head-scratching bonehead threes from the logo, which I think just a lot of these kids want to be Damian Lillard or they want to be Steph Curry, and we have to like kind of rear them back and be like, all right, let's just be realistic here. I mean, when we're in a big situation, the best shot probably isn't a 45-footer. So, but he made up for it with those just being the best court general I've seen in a long time, and it's so fun to watch him. I just can't help but just want them to win the entire thing. I want them to win next tomorrow, or technically later today. That could be a great game. I think, unfortunately, because everyone wants Kansas State and the line's tight, I think that we might be it might be an upset. I think FAU might take them out. But anyway, so that was that game. Now, who cares about the UConn-Arkansas game? UConn from the start just completely dominated. I also predicted that, but at the same time, I didn't really realize it was going to be just like a slugfest the whole game, and Arkansas was going to have a puncher's chance. So that was that game. Next game, we got Tennessee FAU. Now, I also had FAU, which not only covered the spread, they obviously actually won outright, and I felt the same way. So I mean, from jump right now up until right now, I mean, I'm pretty on the money. Let's be real here. Johnny is hot with his picks up to this point, and so FAU, I said it before, and I'll say it again. They just have a complete team. They have a complete team. It's a 30-win college basketball team this year. They're a legitimate program. They're going to continue to keep growing, and they have the talent right now. I mean, between their bench is deep. Their guard play is great. They have great shooters, and their big man is very dynamic. He's very athletic for a big. So Tennessee played great defense. Offensively they had nothing going. Maybe the guard being out for the whole tournament is going to come back to bite them in the ass. But FAU just showed what they were all about. So they win. And then lastly, you have the game of the Sweet 16, which was Gonzaga, UCLA. And it's just so funny to me because I had mentioned that no matter what I do with Gonzaga, they bite me, right? If I bet on them, or if I used to bet on them, they would sting me, and they would either get upset outright, or they would just not cover, or backdoor cover. And then when I would bet against them, they'd have a great game. And I remember, was it maybe last year, 2 years ago, Nemhard like just carried the fucking team. And so anyway, you get to this game, and it's just a weird game, right? UCLA goes up, I think, 13 at the break, or 11 at the break, and you think, all right, well, I mean, UCLA is just the better team now, and it's a shame. Drew Timmy's career is going to be over, and he's going to go out like this, and it is what it is. It's a little sad. And then they come roaring back, and you can't believe it, and they get back in the game, and they're winning the game. And now you can't believe that UCLA is going to be done now, right? Mick Cronin's great teams of the last 3 years keep getting trumped by Gonzaga, and then, no. They come back. Jaime Jaquez just doing it all. I mean, he's just such another dynamic player in this college, in this tournament. He's been so for 3 years, and he's just scrappy. There's no other way to describe him. He's getting dirty buckets down low. I don't know what Mark Few's team was doing fouling. They were fouling in the paint twice. That enabled it enabled UCLA to get back in that game. But so you get back in that game if you're Gonzaga, and then again, UCLA is now at the short end of the stick, and then they come back in the game, and you're saying, wow, this is going to be a classic. They hit that dagger three, which we thought, and then what an absolute insane last possession for Gonzaga. To take that 35-footer or whatever, however far you want to say it was really just a bad play call, in my opinion, and Mark Few said that he was running the Villanova play, and I saw a comment on TikTok, and this is very true. Jay Wright ran that play when it was a tie game. He didn't run that game in the national championship when they were down one, because that would just be dumb. So to take a three from way out when you have like 20 seconds on the clock or like 15 seconds, it was just a head scratcher, but they hit it. And listen, if you hit it, you can't argue with it. So I couldn't believe that. And then Tiger Campbell got a good chance at the end, missed it. So, I mean, not only does Gonzaga trump UCLA again, they have their number, and it's just hard. I mean, the last game that they really screwed them was when, what's his name? The kid on Orlando now who I couldn't stand, Suggs. When I was going to say Terrell Suggs. When Suggs hit that bank shot three in the single overtime in the Final Four, that was just a complete heart ripper, because it'd be just that team, the UCLA team, was such a likable team. It was this roster basically right now. Add Juzang, subtract a couple other guys. It was such a fun underdog, sweet Cinderella team, and for them to lose that way to Gonzaga was just really, really heartbreaking. And then again for this to happen when it's probably, I think it is, Hawkes' last game in his career. Tiger Campbell's last game in his career, I believe. So that was just tough. And then on top of that, so to give you some ideas, I have Gonzaga. My bracket is I had Alabama winning the whole thing. I had Miami in the Final Four. I had Gonzaga in the Final Four, and I had Marquette in the Final Four. So obviously at this point, I'm 3 for 4. On top of that, I have Gonzaga over Miami, and then I have Alabama, and then inevitably Alabama beating Gonzaga in the final. So at this point, even though I picked Gonzaga in my bracket, if you watched my last podcast, my pick was UCLA -1.5, and of course they win that game, and then they get it stolen away from them, and Gonzaga strikes again. They hurt me again, but for the interest of my bracket, it worked out. So that's that game. And so I'm looking at what else I wanted to say about that game. How many? This is another thing. I know I mentioned it, but like this could be an unlikely but continual rivalry, which is just really exciting. Like these two teams. Yeah, I know Gonzaga has gotten the better end of what they've done, but I don't know. I mean, this could be a saga for years and years to come. I know the rosters will be different, but still, it's just really cool to see. So that there's that. That was Thursday. Now let's get to Friday today or earlier. I guess technically yesterday, because again, this is 2:40 right now in the morning on a Saturday morning on March the 25th. Like a nice round number, 25. Love a nice round number. So okay, so you had the first game of today, which really it really is hard to resonate again with gamblers now that I'm away from it. When I just see so many of these punches to the gut, and it still hurts as much as it did prior, but now I don't have any money in the line, which is amazing. So today I went into today and I said, okay, I have Gonzaga in the Elite Eight. I have the Zags in the Elite Eight. I don't have to worry about that right now. It's going to be an amazing game, UConn-Gonzaga. Okay, I'm going to have pretty much Bama coming out, beating San Diego State, and they're going to have a weak matchup probably against either Princeton or Creighton. Easy money. And then the pin in my entire tournament, that like the Jenga piece, so to speak, that has to be perfect, is Miami, which is unlikely, right? 7-point dog. And the whole weekend, pretty much, but specifically today and yesterday night after the games on Thursday, I was looking so forward to this Miami game because I was saying, wow, if they can upset Houston, and I took Miami with the points, but if they could fully outright upset them in the real game and beat them, my bracket's going to look incredible going into the Elite Eight, and that's all you ask for. Whenever you just want to survive in advance to give yourself more time to watch good sporting events, watch good games, and have something on the line, right? When you're not gambling, when you're not just cutting your losses and you go, oh, I lost, this was my last one. You know what? No, but I want to watch them tomorrow. I'm going to bet tomorrow, right? You can keep extending that out and losing more and more and more, or even maybe if you're doing well, you're winning. But in this case, once your bracket's done, you're out. And then obviously, I mean, I just love college basketball, so I'll be watching still with probably the same intensity. But there's definitely an edge taken off now that these games don't count for me, right? So the Bama game starts, and I just have a couple notes regarding Bama because watching that game was very tough, and I was jotting stuff down as I was watching it because it was just blowing my mind. So over the last couple of years watching Javon Quinterly, I didn't really have too much of an opinion on him. I know he's very he's a slasher, and he's kind of the leader of the team, right? And so this game, he rubbed me so far the wrong way with how smug he was that I was almost rooting against Bama, which would have obviously and did, in fact, ruin my bracket. I was rooting against them about halfway through the second half because he was specifically Javon Quinterly, also not Pringle, the other kid. I can't think of the other kid's name. The kid who was about to foul out I think he did foul out actually at the end of the game, but he's a freshman. He's a true freshman. I'm forgetting his name, but smug. Okay, you got the best player in the country as well, who is just nonchalant the whole game. Can't shoot. I mean, how many times is this kid gonna go 3 for 15, 2 for 9. It's getting ridiculous. And I don't know. Again, we've discussed this before. Maybe there is a lot of stuff on his mind with the gun hole situation, or maybe he actually is hurt. Maybe the groin does bother him. But I think Jay Wright actually said that after the game. We don't know. But for that team to be a powerhouse and to go out like that, okay, it was just it was tough to watch. And how many times can Javon Quinterly get blocked at the end of a game? I mean, I've never seen a smugger guy get justice, get karma that was coming to him. He must have gotten rejected, like not just like contested shots that get tipped. He drove strong to the lane, strong, hard to the basket, like 5 or 6 times in like a 4-minute window, and got blocked into the stands like all 5 times. Then, I mean, I think he's an 85% free throw shooter. He goes 1 of 3, misses 2 free throws in critical points for this team as well. Critical. I know there was a lot of things wrong with this game from a coaching standpoint and from a performance standpoint with the players. This game, to me, was on Quinterly because the team is good enough. If a guy has a bad game, you could pick him up. They had a couple of guys having a bad game, and it was just tough to watch. It was tough to watch. They were bitching the whole game. Okay, and San Diego State is, in my opinion, garbage. Really, they couldn't do anything offensively, and they weren't. I mean, Alabama wasn't really playing them well. The difference was that Alabama made absolutely no changes. They're playing this. They're getting held to playing in the half court, and they're not making any adjustments. It was just such a frustrating game to watch. And as this game's going on, and I have Miami in the top right of that fucking screen, winning against Houston, and I'm not watching the game because it won't matter unless Alabama wins. Now the entire structure and the entire point of my day has been flipped, and then inevitably they fucking lose, and that's the last thing. Bama is down 9 points with like a minute and a half left. Okay, I'm paraphrasing here. I'm not exact here, but the point is they're down like 9 points with a minute and a half left. The game's over. Miller, again, is just dejected in the corner the whole game. He got the foul trouble early and then just checks out of the fucking game mentally. Just wasn't there. Nonchalant passes, dribbling the ball off his leg, throwing up garbage threes. That was brutal. And so anyway, somehow, divine miracle, this team gets back in it. This team gets back in it because they hit a basket. They then trap, I'm forgetting who on San Diego State. Jump ball, possession arrow was with Alabama. Bama gets the ball back. I want to say Quinterly did hit a 3-point play there. I'm forgetting, but I think they did. So, yeah, they did. So it went from 9, they hit a basket, to 7. They trap, get the ball back. Now it's at 4. Now, because they hit that 3. Now, San Diego State inbounds the ball. Bama fouls. The kid goes to the line for a 1-on-1. San Diego State misses it. Bama comes down. Shoots a horrible 3 in transition. Miss. Offensive rebound. Basket. 2-point game. We're talking about 45 seconds. 2-point game. You're the best team in the country, okay? I don't care. You're not only the best team in the country, you're playing a team that not only is not a good offensive team, they're not a good offensive program, and they have not, and this is a fact, they have not played well offensively at all. When their best scorer, who's the only scorer in double digits apparently, does nothing the whole game. You have one possession to get a stop, right? 45 seconds. If you don't get that stop, then sure, you try to get a quick basket and then you foul. How in the world can Nate Oates foul? How can he tell his players to foul in the backcourt when you're down by a basket with 45 seconds left? Every ounce of momentum was in Alabama's favor. They went from being down 9-2 in the blink of an eye and are within one possession of getting back in the game and winning it, or at least tying it and going overtime. And you just strip all momentum when you foul that kid and then send him to the line, and he hits both free throws as he should have. It's now a 4-point game. You come down, and I think that's when Miller chucked up that insane 3, that brutal 3. You would have thought they had like 2.5 seconds to get a shot off, and he just turned, catch and shoot, and just threw it up there. Then the ball goes out of bounds on him. They foul again, hit both their free throws again, and the game's now done. That was one of the more frustrating watches I've seen in sports in a long time, when you got Miller with his head up his ass, Quinterly smug, getting rejected at every How many times can you get rejected in a 5-minute span? And again, I'll repeat myself. They were not just little fucking tips or contested jumpers. We're talking about driving hard to the fucking basket and getting absolutely swatted, Mutombo swatted into the stands. So then you got that, and then lastly, you got Nate Oates blowing the game with the coaching. So that game not only ruined my bracket, it ruined the enjoyment I would have felt by having this glimmer of hope by Miami beating Houston. And that's a shame. So we'll get to that game. I didn't get to watch most of it. Let's get real here. Didn't get to watch it because I'm watching fucking Alabama. And then by the time the Bama game was done, Miami was up by 20. So I'm happy for Miami. I love that team. That's why I picked them in the Final Four. I love that team just because I like the way they always play. Okay. They're always playing fast. They always have shooters. Larinaga is a fun guy. I don't care if he's 80. I love him. So I couldn't even enjoy that game. And it's just a shame that now not only is that the end for Nance and his alma mater again, he's not going to be able to get to a call a championship for them. On top of that, now no 1 seeds are in the Elite Eight. On top of that, Houston can't go to Houston basically for the Final Four. They would have been hosting it. So there was a lot of things that were aligning that were just completely ruined by Miami, which is fine because I would have enjoyed that if Alabama won. But of course they didn't because Johnny can't catch a break. So now I failed to mention. So that was at this point now I am, let's think, 3 for 4 on Thursday, 3 for 5 after the Bama game, and then 4 for 6 after Miami because I had Miami +7, and they wound up obviously not only just covering, again, they won outright. Next game, you got Creighton, Princeton, and I said it on the last podcast, I didn't care much about this game, okay? It's just a bunch of white dudes running around, and Creighton's a good team, they are, but do I care? No. That whole, I was, again, another reason why I didn't care is because I was assuming Bama was just going to steamroll everyone, and then this shit happened. Bama was handed a fucking gift from the gods. They were going to play Creighton, who actually isn't a bad team at all. That would have been a good matchup, apparently, because San Diego State fucking daddied Bama. But you think that they would probably roll right into the Final Four, but no. And so I didn't really put much stock into the game. Having said that, I watched the end because of the point situation with the cover, because Vegas always knows. And they wind up covering the 9.5, so I hit that as well. So now I'm, 6 for 8? What did I say? 3 for 4 after Thursday, 3 for 5 after Bama, 4 for 6 after Miami. That's right. I'm 5 for 7 at this game. And then lastly, you got Xavier, Texas, which really just wasn't a game from the start, which is shocking. I love Sean Miller. Said it last podcast. Always has his teams ready for big games. Gets pretty much off the rip. Just they couldn't shoot. I know, not Tennessee. I knew Texas. I mean, they do have a great defense, but I mean, Xavier just didn't show up whatsoever. So then there's that. They get blown out, and I lose that. So 5 of 8. A little bit better than a split. You factor the VIG in, you're basically splitting. You didn't lose money. You didn't really win much unless the unit's high. But if the unit's high, the VIG was high. So again, you're pretty much splitting. So that's what you got. Okay, now let's get to the games that are on later today and on Sunday, the Elite Eight, because there's going to be some great ones. So first of all, again, you got Kansas State, FAU. Kansas State is a 1.5-point favorite. Now, I think that's a really tough game. As a fan, I'm going to be like incredibly rooting for Kansas State, as I'm sure like most of the country will be. But FAU, it's a shame that these teams are playing each other because I like them both. And I think FAU is a great team, and I think they have size that Kansas State's going to have trouble with. I do. So I think it's going to be tossed up in the air. But at the same time, I know obviously Kemba was a very effective pro, and Kemba was just a better like pro-ready type of talent. And with Noel, that's not there. He's 5'8". But I'm getting Kemba, UConn, that tournament. I think that was 2012. I'm getting UConn vibes, the Kemba Walker vibes with this Kansas State team, and so I just feel like he's going to will them to win again. So I have Kansas State -1.5 in that. Next game is UConn Gonzaga. That's a fucking toss-up. UConn has dominated the tournament. They've been just absolutely destroying everything they play, and Gonzaga is weird because they keep like They didn't look great in both the first two games that they played. They would like have lapses where they looked like shit, and then they did well. And then even in the UCLA game, right? They go down 11 or 13 at half. They come back and they almost blow it and they win again. Very confusing. Mark Few's teams are like always kind of like good, like amazing, but also like horrible. Like they're all pussies. They're all like scared of the moment. Timmy, I mean, he dropped, I didn't even mention this. Timmy dropped 36, I think 36. It could have been 37. 36 points in a college basketball game in the NCAA tournament. That does not happen often at all. I thought he was going to go for 40. I think he had 34 with 4 minutes left. Misses those two free throws, which is brutal. But, I mean, so you never know with Drew Timmy. You don't know. Okay, so I'm going to take Gonzaga just because I want to root for them. This is a pure heart play along with Kansas State. I mean, this is going to be. I'm going to be taking the teams I like. Let's just call it how it is. So Kansas State, I got, like I said, -1.5. I'm going to take Gonzaga, who is getting 2 points. Gonzaga is getting 2 points. UConn's the 2-point favorite. Next game is San Diego State Creighton. Creighton's 1.5-point favorite, and that's a toughie for me. I thought San Diego State specifically in that Bama game we just watched today or last night. They had a really good toughness, and their best player didn't play well, which is kind of a recipe for hopefully a bounce back. But I just wasn't impressed by them at all. And Creighton's dynamic, so I'm going to take Creighton. I'm going to take Creighton -1.5, and then lastly we got Texas Miami, which is going to be a great matchup, right? Because you got a great defense against a great offense. Again, Miami dropped 89 points on. They dropped 89 points on the. Why am I my mind going blank? On Houston, 89 points on Houston. I mean, come on, it's amazing. So, again, pure heart play. I want to see Larinaga before he croaks get a title. It's probably not going to happen, but I want to see him get to the Final Four. So I'm going to take Miami. I don't even think there's a line out, but whatever the line is, let me check actually right now. Why not? Well, I'm going to check live on the air because I don't have a producer, as we know. Let's see. We got Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The line is 4.5. Is it 4.5? 4.5 points. Texas is giving 4.5. They're laying 4.5. And what's funny to me is people keep doubting these Miami boys, and they keep fucking showing up. They keep showing up over and over and over again. So that is the lineup for a pretty good, I would say. There was a lot of potential for a lot of better matchups than what we're seeing here. But listen, it's the tournament. It is what it is. So that's what we got. All right, and the last thing we'll talk about quickly is a Yankees thing because we're gonna move away from basketball. I'm excited for those games, but I've been hearing over and over and over again, Anthony Volpe. Here's the situation. We all know he's incredible. He's been a 5-tool, incredible top-end prospect for years now, okay? He's playing well. He hit another home run today. Why are we like having this weird debate? We have insiders from the team talking about he might win the role. It's probably a lock. He's going to win the role. Boone is talking about this stuff. Cashman might be pulling back on it. Why are we... This organization can't get out of its own way. It really can't. Between fucking these prospects up all the time, and now we have to like debate this thing. We started IKF last year at shortstop. I don't even dislike IKF, but the point is that decision wasn't hard. Why is this decision hard? It doesn't make any sense to me. That should be the easiest decision in the world, and I think it might be an arrogance thing where it's like, oh, the Yankees shortstop. Like, the Yankees have to, specifically the management of the team has to be like, this is a big deal. We got to let the fans know, like, he could be the shortstop now. He could be, but, like, he's a top-end prospect, so we got to wait, and we got to let the fans know. You're a baseball team just like everybody else. Everyone else brings up their prospects, and they play. Look at the Houston Astros. Look at Pena. Look at what he did, okay? Look at the Atlanta Braves. Bring up Volpe. I don't want to hear about it, and play him. From start to finish, play him. Let him struggle. Let him excel. Whatever he's going to do, he's going to do. He's ready. It's done. So you do that. And then another thing is I don't want to see Glaber. I got into an argument today by a guy who kept spelling Glaber's name with an O, Gleyber, talking about how Glaber shouldn't be traded and Glaber is going to have a breakout year and we have to still give him a chance. We didn't give him a chance. What is this guy smoking? Gleyber Torres needs to be traded. He's not only not going to get renewed for a contract, so we're just basically going to be giving away a player if we let him go, if we just let him walk. He is, I don't want to call him a liability in the field because he's not, but he's just a kind of an average fielder. Sure, he had he had like 24 bombs last year. He had 260, I want to say. Okay, good. We've seen the better days of Gleyber Torres. It's over. He's nonchalant on the base paths. He makes a lot of bonehead plays, and I'm kind of tired of it. We have this young talent. I have been saying this, and you can check my Twitter for days. I've been saying for days, make, or maybe even not even days. I've been saying this for almost a month now. Make Peraza the shortstop, move Volpe to second, which they've done in spring before. I've literally seen them turn a double play, and move Gleyber for a pitcher. You lose Montas. Obviously, Rodon's done for a while. Can you rely on Herman? Probably not. Trade Gleyber while he's still worth something. Get some value for him, and now slot in Volpe and Peraza. Let's have a nice season where you can kind of have some hope and also some mystery. I mean, every season I feel like we go in with these high expectations but also low expectations, right? It's like, oh, all right, we're going to win 95 games, but we're also going to lose in the division series. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. If you start these two rookies in second and short, and then maybe Cabrera in left, it's exciting. And another point this guy was saying is like, how are you going to start the season with two rookies? We started two rookies in the playoffs, dude. We benched IKF for Peraza in the ALCS. We can play them to start the season in April. So that's where I'm at here, all right? We got a business trip in June in California I'm going to. I was just alerted. I woke up to that news, and I rolled over and I said, there's no way. But let me check my phone. June. I'm going June, I think, 5th to the 8th, right? Which is a Monday to Thursday. I said, let me just check my phone. I mean, we got this new interleague situation where everyone's playing everyone kind of. Sure enough, the New York Yankees are playing the Dodgers in LA. I mean, what are the odds of that? So I'm going to be at the Sunday Night Baseball game. Sick, amazing seats behind the plate. So excited. And that'll be, so I've been to Camden Yards, been to Fenway, obviously Old Yankee, New Yankee, Shea, City. And this is going to be my next one. And I want to make this a thing where I'm seeing ballparks all the time. I was supposed to go to St. Louis last year. That fell through. I'd like to go to Pittsburgh. I'd like to go to PNC. I always, when I was a kid, Safeco was like my favorite. I'd love to get out to Seattle. I want to see McCovey Cove before I'm 30. A lot of parks I want to see. But I want to, Target Field there is amazing. I want to see Target Field. The new place in Arlington is amazing. I've heard, I mean, there's so many new ballparks. Let's get real here. So but one of the oldest ones is going to be, I think it might be I want to say it's like the oldest National League ballpark besides Wrigley Field. I mean, that might be really dumb. I'm pretty sure Dodger Stadium is the oldest park, and they obviously renovated it, besides Wrigley. So excited as fuck for that. We got some great games on tomorrow. I'll be going out in the city, hopefully not drinking. I might get peer pressured into it for the first time in 4 months. We'll see how it is, but I think I'm going to hold my ground. I think I'm going to hold strong. And yeah, Johnny Kith out.